Most people believe that to become a millionaire, you need to be born rich, win the lottery, or start a big business. But the truth is, you don't need any of those. You can build wealth starting from your very own salary. Yes, the same paycheck you receive every month can become the foundation of financial freedom and turn into millions over time if you use it wisely. The difference between those who struggle all their lives and those who create wealth lies in discipline, choices, and strategies. The very first principle that has the power to change your financial life forever is the decision to pay yourself first every single month. This is one of the most powerful habits you can develop because it instantly changes the way you view money. For most people, the pattern is simple. They work hard, they earn their salary, and then they spend bills, groceries, entertainment, lifestyle upgrades, and at the end of the month, they realize nothing is left. They tell themselves that next month they will save, but next month comes and the cycle repeats. This habit is the reason why many people work for decades yet have little to show for it. The truth is, if you wait to save what is left over, there will never be anything left. The secret is to reverse this order. The moment your salary comes in, you immediately put aside a fixed percentage, whether it is 10%, 20%, or more, into a separate savings or investment account. This money is not for spending. It is for building your future, your security, and eventually your wealth. When you pay yourself first, you are sending a powerful signal to your subconscious mind that your financial independence is a priority. It becomes a form of self-respect. Instead of working only to pay others, you are working to build a foundation for your own freedom. In the beginning, this may feel uncomfortable. You may feel as if you cannot afford to save because your expenses are too high. But this is where the discipline comes in. Even if it is a small amount, you must begin. The habit itself is more important than the amount. Once you develop the discipline of automatically saving a portion, you can always increase it as your income grows. Over time, the money you set aside will begin to accumulate, and it will surprise you how quickly it adds up. Imagine that you earn an average salary and you decide to save 10% every month. At first, it might feel insignificant, but after a year, you notice a decent sum has built up. After a few years, that sum is no longer small, it is meaningful. When that money is placed in investments that grow steadily, it begins to generate returns. The returns then produce their own returns. This is how the simple act of paying yourself first transforms into the engine of long-term wealth. The greatest fortunes in history are not built in one night. They are built slowly, consistently through disciplined saving and investing. This single decision, when applied consistently over years, can turn an ordinary salary into extraordinary wealth. Another important truth about paying yourself first is that it forces you to adjust your lifestyle to what remains. Many people live with the idea that they will save once their salary increases, but in reality, when their salary increases, their spending increases with it. They buy a better car, move into a larger house, or increase their entertainment spending and still find themselves with nothing left over. But when you save first, you build your lifestyle around the remaining amount. Human beings are incredibly adaptable. When you decide that a portion of your salary is untouchable and belongs only to your future, you quickly learn to manage on what remains. In fact, this often inspires you to become more creative, to cut unnecessary costs, and to discover ways to live better without spending more. The second principle that is essential if you truly want to turn your salary into millions is to live below your means and control your expenses. This is where many people struggle because society constantly pushes us toward consumerism. Everywhere you look, there are advertisements urging you to buy the latest phone, the newest car, the trendiest clothes, or the most luxurious lifestyle. Social pressure adds even more weight because people often feel the need to show off their success through material possessions. But the truth is, most people who look wealthy on the outside are struggling on the inside. They live paycheck to paycheck, heavily in debt, with little or no savings. Living below your means is the discipline of resisting that temptation and choosing long-term security over short-term appearances. When you decide to live below your means, you free yourself from the trap that enslaves so many. It does not mean you have to live a life of deprivation or sacrifice your happiness. It means you become conscious about your spending, separating your wants from your needs, and ensuring that your lifestyle never rises faster than your income. For example, instead of buying the most expensive car that locks you into years of payments, you might choose a reliable vehicle that meets your needs and allows you to save the difference. Instead of moving into the biggest house the bank is willing to finance, you choose a home that provides comfort without drowning you in debt. These decisions may not earn you applause today, but they will give you freedom tomorrow. One of the most important lessons about money is that it is not how much you earn that determines your wealth. It is how much you keep. Two people can earn the same salary, but one spends every cent while the other saves and invests consistently. After 10 or 20 years, their financial positions will be worlds apart. The spender will still be struggling, while the saver will be financially secure, perhaps even wealthy. Living below your means is the habit that ensures you are always keeping more than you spend. A practical way to live below your means is to track your expenses. Most people have no clear idea of where their money goes each month. When you write down or record every expense, you quickly see patterns. You might notice small leaks that drain your finances, such as frequent dining out, impulsive shopping, or unnecessary subscriptions. Once you become aware, you can make conscious adjustments. This awareness gives you control, and with control, you can make better financial decisions. The beauty of living below your means is that it creates a sense of freedom rather than restriction. When you spend less than you earn, you reduce financial stress. You no longer feel trapped by debt or overwhelmed by bills. Instead, you feel empowered knowing that you are in control of your money and not the other way around. Over time, this control translates into confidence, and that confidence inspires you to save more, invest more, and build wealth faster. Together, these first two principles form the foundation of financial independence. Paying yourself first ensures that you always put your future ahead of your present comfort. Living below your means ensures that you always have the resources to continue building wealth steadily. These are not temporary tactics, but lifelong habits. They may seem simple, but in their simplicity lies their power. If you commit to them and practice them faithfully, you will be amazed at how far they take you on your journey to financial success. The third principle that transforms an ordinary salary into lasting wealth is the discipline of saving and investing consistently over time. This is where the power of patience and persistence comes into play. Many people dream of becoming wealthy, but they are constantly searching for shortcuts, quick wins, or overnight success. They chase after the latest schemes, risky ventures, or speculative trends, hoping to double their money in a matter of months. The truth is, real wealth is rarely built that way. It is built gradually, step by step, through steady saving and wise investing. Just like a tree does not grow into its full strength overnight, but requires seasons of nurturing, your financial growth depends on consistent action taken over years, not days. When you commit to saving and investing regularly, you put time on your side. Each deposit you make, no matter how small, begins to accumulate. At first, the growth may appear slow and almost invisible, but as time passes, the pace accelerates. The small deposits you made in the early months begin to earn returns, and those returns themselves start generating more returns. This is the process that magnifies your efforts. By staying consistent, you are not just adding money, you are building momentum. It is this momentum that eventually transforms a modest salary into financial independence. One of the most powerful truths about wealth building is that it does not depend entirely on the size of your income, but on the consistency of your actions. A person with a modest salary who saves and invests faithfully for 20 years will often surpass someone who earns far more but spends recklessly and saves nothing. What matters is not how much money passes through your hands, but how much stays with you and grows. If you make saving and investing a monthly ritual, just like paying rent or utility bills, you are guaranteed to see results. It becomes a part of your life, not an occasional decision. The act of investing is what multiplies your savings into something greater. Leaving money idle in a savings account can provide a sense of safety, but it rarely grows significantly due to inflation and low interest. The key is to direct those savings into avenues where they can grow. This may include mutual funds, index funds, retirement accounts, real estate, or businesses, depending on your knowledge and risk tolerance. The most important principle is to choose investments that are steady, reliable, and long-term. There will always be fluctuations, highs and lows in markets, but if you stay consistent and avoid the temptation to panic, your wealth will steadily climb. Consistency in investing also trains your character. It teaches you patience, discipline, and resilience. There will be times when you feel like skipping a month, times when expenses press harder, or times when markets seem uncertain. But the ability to stay the course, To keep putting money aside and letting it grow is what separates those who achieve financial success from those who do not. Wealth is not just the accumulation of money, it is the accumulation of habits. Each time you save and invest, you strengthen the habit. Eventually, it becomes natural to you, as automatic as breathing. This principle is also about trust in the process. Too often, people give up before they see results. They save for a few months, invest for a short time, and then lose patience because the growth seems slow. But if they would continue, they would see the turning point where growth accelerates. Just like a farmer does not plant seeds and expect to harvest the next morning, you must allow your money to grow season after season, year after year. It is the steady watering of the plant that produces a strong tree, not a rush of water in one day. The fourth principle that is crucial in turning your salary into millions is eliminating debt and avoiding unnecessary borrowing. Debt is one of the biggest obstacles standing between people and financial freedom. It acts like a chain around your ankles, keeping you trapped no matter how hard you work. For many, a large portion of their salary never truly belongs to them because it goes directly to pay off debts, loans, and interest charges. If you want to build wealth, you must make it your mission to free yourself from this burden and protect yourself from falling into it again. Debt is dangerous because it gives the illusion of wealth while silently eroding your future. Credit cards, easy loans, and financing plans make it tempting to buy what you cannot yet afford. At the moment, it feels good to have the product or experience immediately, but what follows is months or even years of payments, often with interest that makes the item far more expensive than its original price. This constant borrowing creates a lifestyle where you are always behind, always paying for yesterday instead of preparing for tomorrow. The path to financial independence begins with the decision to stop borrowing for unnecessary expenses. This means distinguishing between productive debt and destructive debt. Productive debt may include a carefully considered loan for education that increases your earning potential or a mortgage for a property that appreciates in value. Destructive debt, on the other hand, includes credit card balances, consumer loans, or any borrowing that finances lifestyle instead of assets. The goal is to eliminate destructive debt completely and as quickly as possible. To eliminate debt, you must first face it directly. Many people avoid looking at the true extent of what they owe, hoping it will somehow resolve itself. But avoidance only makes it worse. The first step is to list every debt, every loan, every balance, and the interest rates attached to them. Once you have a clear picture, you can create a plan. Some prefer to pay off the smallest balances first to build confidence, while others target the highest interest rates to save money. The strategy matters less than the commitment. The key is to make debt elimination a priority, dedicating extra money each month toward paying it down until you are free. As you begin clearing debts, something remarkable happens. You feel lighter, more in control, and more motivated. Every balance paid off is a step toward freedom. Every loan eliminated is a victory. Once you are free from debt, your salary truly belongs to you. Instead of paying banks and lenders, you can now direct that money towards savings and investments. What once drained you now fuels your growth. Avoiding unnecessary borrowing in the future requires awareness and discipline. It means saying no to impulse spending, resisting the lure of easy credit, and remembering that debt is not your friend. It is also about adopting the mindset that you do not need to impress others with possessions financed by debt. True wealth is quiet. It is built in silence, and it does not depend on showing off. When you live within your means, save consistently, and avoid borrowing for temporary pleasures, you create a financial foundation that cannot be shaken. Together, the principles of saving and investing consistently and eliminating debt form a powerful combination. One builds your wealth, while the other protects it. One ensures that your money grows steadily, while the other ensures that your money is not drained by interest and obligations. Practiced together, they create a momentum that moves you closer and closer to financial independence, no matter where you start or what challenges you face. The fifth principle that can transform your salary into a source of wealth is the commitment to increase your earning ability through continuous learning. Your ability to earn is one of the most valuable assets you will ever have. Unlike material possessions, it cannot be taken away, and unlike investments in the stock market or real estate, it is entirely under your control. The money you make today is a direct reflection of the skills, knowledge, and abilities you have developed up to this point. If you want to earn more tomorrow, the surest way is to improve yourself today. The world rewards competence, and the marketplace pays in proportion to the value you create, many people stop learning once they finish school or complete a degree. They enter the workforce, gain some experience, and then settle into a routine. They believe their education is behind them and that their career path is fixed. This mindset is one of the greatest mistakes a person can make. The truth is, your formal education may have given you a foundation, but your true education begins after school. Every skill you develop, every course you take, every book you read, every mentor you learn from, and every challenge you tackle adds to your value. The more valuable you become, the more opportunities open up, the higher your earning potential grows, and the faster you can transform your salary into significant wealth. Continuous learning does not always mean formal study. It can be as simple as dedicating an hour each day to reading books that expand your knowledge. It can mean listening to educational podcasts during your commute, taking online courses in your field, or attending workshops that teach you new techniques. Even practicing skills on your own, solving problems, or pushing yourself into new projects builds competence. Every time you learn something new, you add another tool to your toolbox, and over time that toolbox becomes more powerful than you can imagine. Think of it this way. If you learn a new skill that makes you twice as efficient, or a new method that saves your company money, or a new technique that generates more revenue, you immediately become more valuable. Employers notice, clients appreciate, and opportunities multiply. Higher value leads to promotions, salary increases, and greater demand for your services. If you are self-employed, it allows you to charge higher fees and attract better clients. This is why the greatest investment you can ever make is the investment you make in yourself. The habit of continuous learning also protects you against change. The world is evolving at an incredible pace. Technologies that were revolutionary yesterday are outdated today. Industries are transforming, and jobs that once seemed secure are disappearing. The only way to stay relevant is to keep learning. When you are constantly upgrading your skills, you remain adaptable. No matter how the world shifts, you have the ability to adjust, to pivot, and to thrive. This adaptability ensures that you never become obsolete, and it keeps your earning power strong throughout your life. A practical step you can take is to set aside a percentage of your income specifically for self-education. Just as you invest money in savings or assets, invest in books, courses, seminars, and training that improve your abilities. Think of this not as an expense, but as an investment with extraordinary returns. A single new skill can increase your income for the rest of your career. Over time, the returns from your improved earning ability far exceed the money you spend on learning. The sixth principle that accelerates the journey from salary to millions is the decision to develop multiple streams of income. Relying on one source of income, no matter how secure it may seem, is risky. If that source dries up, you are left vulnerable. History has shown time and again that industries collapse, companies downsize, and unexpected events disrupt careers. If you depend solely on a single paycheck, your financial security is fragile. But when you create additional sources of income, you build a safety net. You give yourself options, and you multiply the speed at which you can achieve wealth. Multiple streams of income do not mean you have to work multiple full-time jobs. It means finding creative ways to generate income alongside your main salary. This could include starting a side business, freelancing your skills, investing in rental properties, earning dividends from stocks, or creating digital products that sell while you sleep. In today's world, the opportunities are greater than ever. Technology has opened doors to global markets, allowing anyone with determination and creativity to build additional income sources with relatively low costs and high potential. The beauty of having multiple income streams is that they create resilience. If one source slows down, others continue to support you. Over time, as you develop and grow these streams, some may even surpass your primary salary. This is how many people make the transition from financial struggle to financial independence. They begin with a job, create a side income, reinvest the profits, and eventually find themselves in a position where their side ventures generate more than their original paycheck. Developing multiple streams of income also changes your mindset. It forces you to think like an entrepreneur rather than just an employee. You begin to see opportunities everywhere. You start asking yourself, how can I turn this skill into income? How can I solve this problem for others in exchange for value? This mindset shift alone is life-changing because it takes you from dependence to independence. Instead of waiting for a company or a boss to determine your worth, you begin to take control of your financial destiny. Building additional income streams requires effort, especially in the beginning. It may mean dedicating evenings or weekends to a project, learning new skills, or making sacrifices in leisure, but the rewards are worth it. Each new stream you create brings not only money, but also confidence, security, and momentum. Over time, you will find that your dependence on your primary salary decreases and your freedom to live life on your own terms increases. The seventh principle that plays a defining role in turning your salary into millions is the habit of investing in assets that grow in value. Too many people confuse assets with possessions. They believe that having a bigger car, a larger house, or expensive gadgets makes them wealthy, when in reality these items are often liabilities. They lose value over time, they cost money to maintain, and they do not generate income. True assets are very different. They are things that put money into your pocket, increase in worth as the years go by, or provide a steady stream of returns that build your financial foundation. If you want to transform your salary into lasting wealth, you must learn to direct your money toward real assets instead of temporary comforts. Every time you spend money, you make a choice between consuming and investing. Consumption gives you immediate satisfaction, but leaves you with nothing lasting. Investment may delay gratification, but it gives you something that grows and supports you in the future. For example, a brand new luxury car may look attractive and bring compliments from others, but within a few years it will decline in value and eventually be worth a fraction of what you paid. On the other hand, buying shares in a strong company or investing in a piece of land may not bring immediate excitement, but as time passes, the value increases and builds your net worth. The key is to prioritize these wealth-building choices repeatedly until they become second nature. There are many types of assets that can grow in value. Real estate has long been considered a powerful wealth-building vehicle. When you purchase property in a good location and hold it over time, its value often rises, and it can also provide rental income along the way. Stocks and equities are another avenue. By investing in companies that are growing and profitable, you benefit not only from the appreciation of the stock price, but also from dividends. Mutual funds and index funds provide diversification and reduce risk while still allowing your money to grow steadily. For those with an entrepreneurial mindset, building a business is also an asset because it can generate income, expand, and eventually be sold for significant profit. What all of these assets have in common is that they require discipline and patience. They are not about quick gains, but about steady growth. When you invest regularly and hold your assets over time, the small increases compound into significant wealth. The challenge is to resist the temptation of spending on things that shine today but vanish tomorrow. This is where vision comes into play. You must learn to see beyond the moment, to imagine the life of security and freedom that comes when your assets are working for you. When you do this, every purchase decision becomes a test. You begin to ask yourself, will this item grow in value, or will it lose value the moment I own it? By asking this question often, you develop the wisdom to choose assets over liabilities consistently. Investing in assets also shifts your financial position from being dependent on your salary to having your money work for you. As long as you rely solely on your paycheck, your income stops the moment you stop working. But when you build assets, you create streams of income that continue to flow whether you are working or not. This is the difference between being employed and being financially free. Your goal should be to steadily redirect a portion of your salary into assets until one day those assets generate more than your salary ever did. At that point, you have achieved true independence. The eighth principle that amplifies the wealth-building process is using the power of compound interest to your advantage. Compound interest has often been called the eighth wonder of the world because of its incredible ability to multiply wealth over time. It works in a simple but powerful way. When you invest money and it earns a return, the next time you earn not only on your original investment, but also on the returns from before. As this cycle repeats year after year, your wealth grows at an accelerating pace. What starts as a small sum eventually becomes large because of the compounding effect. The challenge is that compound interest reveals its magic only to those who are patient. In the early years, the growth appears slow, and it may seem as though your efforts are producing little. But with each passing year, the curve bends upward, and the growth becomes more dramatic. This is why starting early is so important. The earlier you begin to invest, the more time your money has to compound. Even small amounts invested consistently over a long period can grow into significant sums. To take full advantage of compound interest, You must commit to reinvesting your returns rather than spending them. Many people are tempted to withdraw the interest or dividends their investments generate and use it for consumption. But if you leave it in and let it grow, the compounding accelerates. It is like planting a tree. If you pick the fruit too soon, you enjoy a little today, but limit the harvest tomorrow. If you allow the tree to grow fully, the harvest multiplies year after year, feeding you for a lifetime. Compound interest also teaches the importance of consistency. Missing even a few years of investing can make a dramatic difference in the final result. That is why it is better to start small and early than to wait until you can save a large amount. Every dollar you invest in your 20s, for example, can be worth several times more than a dollar invested later in life because of the time it has to grow. This principle is universal, and it does not discriminate. Anyone, regardless of income, can benefit from it as long as they begin and remain consistent. Another powerful aspect of compound interest is that it works both ways. Just as it can build wealth when you invest, it can also destroy wealth when you are in debt. Credit card balances and high interest loans compound against you, growing larger the longer you take to pay them off. That is why avoiding destructive debt is so essential. When you harness compound interest on your side, it becomes your ally. When it is working against you, it becomes your enemy. The choice is entirely in your hands. By combining the principle of investing in assets with the principle of harnessing compound interest, you create a powerful wealth-building engine. The assets provide the foundation by holding and increasing value, while compound interest accelerates their growth over time. Together, they ensure that your money is always working harder than you are, building momentum in the background while you continue with your life. These principles demand discipline, vision, and patience, but the rewards are extraordinary. Those who master them often look back after years with astonishment at how small efforts, consistently applied, turned into fortunes they once thought were impossible. The ninth principle that has the power to transform your salary into a fortune is the practice of setting clear financial goals with deadlines. Without goals, your money will always flow in different directions, guided by impulse, circumstance, and emotion. But when you set precise goals for your finances, you take control of your future. A financial goal is not just a wish or a vague hope that one day you will be wealthy. It is a specific target measured in numbers attached to a clear timeline. It forces your mind to focus, your actions to align, and your habits to sharpen. Goals give your salary a purpose beyond just paying bills and buying things. They give every dollar a mission. When you write down a goal, something remarkable happens in your mind. Suddenly you are no longer drifting. You now have a direction, a point on the horizon that pulls you forward. For example, if you set a goal of saving a certain amount within 5 years, you begin to automatically think about how much you need to save each month, what expenses to cut, and where to invest. Your brain becomes alert to opportunities, solutions, and ideas that bring you closer to that goal. This is not a coincidence. It is the power of clarity. When you are clear about what you want, your subconscious mind works day and night to help you achieve it. The act of attaching deadlines to your goals is equally important. A goal without a deadline is like a dream without substance. It has no urgency, no structure, and no pressure to act. But when you give yourself a timeline, you create accountability, you transform a vague intention into a commitment. The deadline pushes you to take consistent action because you know there is a finish line ahead. Even if you fall short, you will be far ahead of where you would have been without a deadline. The pressure of time can be uncomfortable, but it is this discomfort that fuels progress. Financial goals must also be broken down into smaller, manageable steps. If your aim is to accumulate a certain amount in 10 years, you must calculate how much to save and invest each year, each month, and even each week. This breakdown transforms something overwhelming into something practical. It allows you to track progress, celebrate milestones, and adjust your strategy when necessary. Every small achievement builds momentum and strengthens your belief that the larger goal is possible. The most powerful part of setting financial goals is that it changes your relationship with money. Instead of viewing your salary as something that comes and goes, you begin to see it as a tool, a servant of your vision. Every time you receive your paycheck, you know exactly where part of it will go because it has a destination that leads directly to your goals. This sense of purpose gives you confidence and discipline. It protects you from impulsive spending because you know that every unnecessary purchase delays your dream. The 10th principle that completes this journey is surrounding yourself with financially successful people. The environment you live in shapes your mindset, your habits, and your results more than you realize. Human beings are social creatures. We absorb the attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors of the people around us. If you spend time with people who complain about money, who live paycheck to paycheck, who constantly borrow or spend recklessly, you will begin to mirror their habits without even noticing it. But if you surround yourself with people who are financially wise, disciplined, and successful, their habits and attitudes will rub off on you. The influence of your environment is so powerful that it can either accelerate your journey to wealth or hold you back for years. That is why you must choose carefully who you allow into your inner circle. Seek out people who are ahead of you financially, people who inspire you, people who can challenge you to grow. Observe how they think, how they make decisions, how they handle challenges. Notice their discipline, their patience, and their long-term vision. By spending time in such company, you naturally begin